Welcome everybody back to A&M in the AM, episode 8. We're not in the studio together today. We had some conflicting schedules and just couldn't find time to get in together, but nonetheless, we still had time to get on here and get out a video for you guys.
Back to the good old Zoom.
Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't want to miss an upload. We strive on consistency here on the Buds podcast. So, I think we're gonna there. We didn't do a news episode for the Buds podcast on Monday, so there's not a lot of news, but there's still a decent amount of news that we want to talk about today with you. We're gonna address the NBA, NASCAR, a little NFL news, surprisingly, MLB, and then I think we're gonna take it back to talking about wiffle ball because I got Mort out to a game.
Well, if you want to count it as two games, well, I guess both mercies, so you could, I guess, maybe count them as one combined.
It was a slaughter fest and then another slaughter fest, but
it was just straight home run derby, really.
Yeah, it was a home run. It was basically watching the All-Star game for them, but yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. So I think first of all, we're gonna get into some news that came out. Nikola Jokic, he is reported to have COVID-19, and it's delaying his travels to the U.S. And I think it makes a lot of sense now why he has gotten
skinny so fast.
And I think it was trying to be hidden at first because they're saying that he had it. And
yeah, he's going to be coming back later.
Because he took the antibodies test and he tested positive that he had it. So they're doing more tests on him, and he should be getting a week to come and play with the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. So I think that results to a lot in why he got skinny so fast, because the one thing with COVID is that a lot of people were getting had a big weight loss from it.
Also, I mean, he was back in Serbia, so who knows what he was really like, what his diet was like there.
Yeah, it could honestly, they could have been feeding him like one piece of bread a day.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing with the NBA restarting is Trevor Ariza he's currently on the Portland Trailblazers. He is one of a couple people that won't be participating in the restart. His was a little different situation. He's been in a custody battle for his son, and he gets 1 month a year with his son. And for some reason, I don't want to say this is like she enforced it, but his 1 month that he's being granted to see his son is one of the months when they're going to be down in Orlando in quarantine. So he's choosing his son over basketball, which is a logical.
They didn't say if this was pre-planned or anything.
Mm-hmm. No, they just said. I'll read Woj's tweet.
Because it would make sense if it was pre-planned. This would normally be the off season. This would be like his time off before he starts working out and stuff again. So it makes sense. I mean, this would be around July, August, so it would make sense. But it says Ariza has been involved in a custody case over his 12-year-old son, and mother's choice of granting a court-ordered 1 month visitation period during the league's quarantine of teams in Orlando left Ariza to choose parenting responsibilities over competing in restart. So the mother's choice of granting a court-ordered 1 month visitation period. So I don't know if that means she is saying that month, or if the court's saying that month, which I think it would be the mother's choice of what time. It's probably both. But, I mean, I also still would maybe give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Like, she had probably planned on it being sometime around this time anyway.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, I think it's a mutual
agreement. I mean, it kind of sucks. It sucks for both parties. It sucks that Trevor's not that big of a guy, not as good as he used to be, but he's a good veteran to have on your roster if you're trying to make that little playoff push, which Portland is. They have a chance to make that.
I think he was brought in to replace Rodney Hood when he had his ACL. So now they're going to have whatever it was.
Now they're going to have to figure out even another piece to fill Ariza. Another person that's going to be sitting out, even though a lot of teams were interested in him, Boogie Cousins. He said that he is going to take this time to continue his rehab and try to
fully come back next year. I don't fully buy it.
You think he's going to come back, sneak back in?
Especially if Dwight doesn't play, you have a glaring hole to come back and play for the Lakers. JaVale would be the only center. You'd have to run AD, and then you would have no bench.
Yeah, that would be the only. Yeah, I mean, you could be right there, but they have a lot of people they could pick up still. I feel as though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any more like big guys out there that would
I
help them
mean,
out that much, though.
Stoudemire was still he did that mid-season workout or like early season workout.
Yeah, but he's old.
But I mean, if you're looking for a guy to just come and kind of fill a bench role, he still played good in the big three. He could easily fill that for you. I mean, that's a long shot. I mean, I've not heard his name in circulation since that workout with who do you work out with? It was a point guard from the big three.
I don't know. I mean, I'd assume there probably is a center / power forward that's out there. It's a free agent that can still like come and just play defense or rebound the ball. Like they would just need off the bench. But
another person that the Pistons actually picked up it was in the off season. Joe Johnson, a good 3-and-D type of guy.
Did they have? They don't have him anymore though.
No, they released him. They didn't. They said they didn't have a roster spot for him.
Didn't he end up on Timberwolves? I think.
No, after the Pistons, he didn't end up with a team. He had been done with the big three and everything, and he didn't end up with a team again. But I mean, he's the reigning MVP of the Big Three league.
You think he's pulling up with LeBron again, like old Heat days?
He wasn't on. He wasn't with the Heat. Joe Johnson.
Well, I'm thinking. Okay, yeah.
You're thinking of James Johnson.
Yeah,
I think. No, but yeah, Joe Johnson. I mean, he played for the Nets and the Hawks. That one. Remember that was with the Kevin Garnett when they tried to make the super team, with the Brooklyn Nets when they first got there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Darren, Joe, Paul, Kevin, and then I forget
the old guys.
Yeah, they tried to make a super team with a bunch of old guys. I mean, Darren wasn't that old, but still. But yeah, I could see him or Amari maybe making their names coming up randomly. So, I think that's really all that came out about the NBA. It's still just kind of finalizing. I think they're coming to their final agreements within the next couple of days just to shore up like the CBA and everything because they obviously have their agreement for their payment and everything, but I think they just got to tweak a couple things with the season restarting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the NBA is basically good to go end of July, which is promising. Now moving on to a little bit, I want to say like sad news, but kind of like harsher news from over the weekend. NASCAR had banned the Confederate flag, which you can say it's a big thing for NASCAR because NASCAR originated in the South. South has big ties with the Confederate flag.
Yeah, they're the biggest fans.
Yeah, a lot of people down there support it and everything like that. So on Sunday, it was the first race with the flag being banned. Again, Bubba Wallace was a big person. He's the only African-American driver currently on the Cup Series. And on Sunday, they were in Talladega, which is in the heart of Alabama, which you could say is a prime spot to see this Confederate flag. It wasn't flown in the stadium, but it was flown outside of the outside of the racetrack, like perimeter where people could fly and stuff. And then Sunday like afternoon, they had a rain delay. So obviously teams weren't really in their garage. They were kind of like in their RVs and everything. After the rain delay, or after the race had been postponed, the 43 team, Bubba Wallace's team, went to their garage stall and they found a noose in his garage stall, which is unspeakable. Like, I mean, that's just that.
And it's so weird.
Which I'm surprised NASCAR hasn't been able to find who it was sooner, because I would assume they have cameras and stuff. And what I've heard is that it's more than likely someone connected with NASCAR, because that only
it'd have to be because they said there was only the track officials, drivers, and their crews that were having access.
So after that came out, a lot of people came and were supporting Bubba, and he just had a lot of overwhelming support from it.
That thing that they did before it started was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no,
where he drove and they all walked behind him.
When he started crying, that got me.
Yeah.
That was a little tearjerker for me.
He pulled his mask off, was just hugging guys around him, was taking pictures, like that selfie he took in front of his car with everybody behind him.
So basically, what he's talking about is before the race, they they all
gathered on pit road.
All the racers gathered around Bubba's car and started pushing his car to the front of the field in front of all other 39 drivers. They pushed his car up there while he was in the car. You had like Kyle Busch, you had all the main, like the top guys that were basically on the car.
And like his closest friends, I think they said.
You had all every single crew member from every car walking behind them, and basically it was like orderly fashion, which that's what surprised. It was like literally like boom, boom.
It's not like they practiced or anything. They just showed up and they all just executed.
And then it was a really inspiring moment because it showed that NASCAR is actually changing, because NASCAR historically has been not African American friendly type of league, you could say, over the years, especially in the 90s. So to see them doing that, it speaks very loud. And I hope they figure out whoever did it, and that he's like, I don't want to say like death, but that he's like just like expelled and never be able to come back.
Whoever did it, if they find out, things are gonna happen. That's.
Oh yeah. So moving on from that sad news, we have some happy news for Detroit Lions fans. Not too happy, but finally, for the first time since 2014, Martha Ford, the worst owner in football, has finally stepped down from her position as owner of the Lions. Unfortunately, she's just handing it aside to her daughter. So we're not selling the team to Jeff Bezos.
They're going to keep that boy in the family.
Yeah, we're not selling the team to Jeff Bezos yet, but soon we will. I am pulling for him to be the owner of the Lions. I feel like he'll take us into a lot better direction. We'll definitely have a top 5 field if he becomes owner. As sad as it is, I think the Fords need to sell the team. They've owned it since the beginning, but they need to sell the team. It's not working anymore. I mean, maybe keep them on as sponsorship. Or
I was going to say, if you sell it, though, do you keep your name on there and it's not Ford Field anymore? It's going to be something weird.
No, it would obviously change. It would probably like I said, Jeff Bezos has been intrigued in weird. Yeah, I know. It was very weird because he's from I don't even think he's from the U.S. I think he's from like Britain. But I mean, it would be Amazon Field. Wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, again, that would also probably bring jobs to Detroit because he would bring an Amazon office.
Yeah, he'd bring a few.
So I mean, that's a plus. Like, if I'm Detroit, I'm pulling for the Fords to sell.
I mean, that's like the same thing that everybody was doing when they were talking about what's his name from the Cavs, selling the Cavs and buying the Pistons. I was also on board with him selling the Cavs and buying the Tigers.
Yeah, doesn't he have? I think he has partnership
in
the Pistons, anyways.
I'm not sure. I don't know why he would if he still has the Cavs.
See, I didn't even know up until like this year that
he owns one of the casinos in Detroit.
What?
What's his name from the Cavs?
I don't remember. But I didn't know.
I mean, we all know who we're talking about. He has a casino in Detroit because he's from Detroit.
Yeah, I think he owns Detroit, the main casino there.
I think so.
But I didn't know the owner of the Pistons was the father of the Browns' new head coach, Kevin Stefanski.
Tom Gores? He's
no.
not the owner, is he? No.
Here, let me pull it up real fast for you. Detroit Pistons. Yeah, Tom Gores, I don't think he's the owner. Oh, he is owner.
That's what I thought.
Oh, the president, not the owner. The president.
Oh, okay.
Ed Stefanski is father of Kevin Stefanski, now owner or now head coach of the Cleveland Browns, which I found interesting personally because I didn't know that up until this year. But Gorse,
Gorse doesn't even go to games.
No, you've seen him. I've seen him at a couple games personally.
Sometimes, but then the only other times he sees them is when they play in LA because I guess he lives in LA year round, except for when he has to come to Detroit for things.
He was born in Israel. Did not know that.
And by the way, the Cavs' name is Dan Gilbert. Couldn't think of it. There we go.
Yeah, Dan Gilbert. I knew that because he's the one that the whole LeBron controversy when he put out when he bought out a page in the paper and basically talk shit about LeBron.
Before we go to the next thing,
okay.
After we just spoke about Bubba, ESPN just sent out breaking news about him.
Mm-hmm.
It says he was not a victim of hate crime, and that the noose had been in Talladega since last fall in one of the garages. So that was according to the FBI.
Why was it in there though?
I don't know. I don't know how.
And why did they not notice it until after the rain delay?
Well, if they knew it was from last fall, then
that's kind of fishy that they know exactly when it's from, anyways. Unless they went back in like camera footage.
Must have. Yeah, it just came out. It says according to the FBI that it's been chilling there in the Talladega garage.
I mean, I guess we'll hear more and more as more news comes out about it. But I think we want to move here to the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as the time we're recording this, on Tuesday afternoon, the MLB was supposed to come to an agreement that they were going to play 60 games, and I believe this was the Rob Manfred like enforcing it type of deal.
I think it was like them coming together, but he's like we're not walking away without it.
So it was 60 games starting, I think, July 27th
it was like,
to 29th.
Yeah, it was like mid to late.
Yeah, it was like late July, and they would report for spring training July 1st, and they had till Tuesday at 5 to discuss it or to agree on it.
And is now in extra innings.
And it's currently now, apparently they're only at second base, which I don't know what that means, but we haven't heard anything about it yet. And I feel like we're still not going to hear anything about it, and that baseball is just done.
With some horrible rule changes, I think is what it's really holding it up.
What were the rule changes?
They were still talking about the DH, which is whatever.
Okay.
The dumb thing about the extra innings starting with the runner on second base. We used to have to do that in like Little League and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say Rob Manfred's been trying to push that for a while.
I don't know why he's trying to push a Little League rule. It was so annoying. Like you'd only do that in Little League for like time constraints, which I guess that's what he's trying to do here. You would have no limit to position players or pitching or pitchers on your team, so you could have whatever. Because like right now, I think it's like 13 or 14 pitchers, and I want to say
rest position.
Yeah.
So that would leave you with about. If you had 13 pitchers, that would leave you with about 12 position players.
Yeah, or you could carry the extra player and then have the
12 pitchers.
Not have the pitcher.
So then you would have 5 starting pitchers and 7
bullpen guys and stuff.
Not bad. Yeah.
They also have. This is new to me. I hadn't seen it before. They were saying pitchers can now have a wet rag in their pocket instead of licking their fingers. They would have like a cloth in their pocket, which I don't know how it would stay wet and how they would like having a wet pocket the whole time, but whatever.
Yeah, that would be very uncomfortable.
And they're also still keeping the 3-batter minimum for pitchers.
Which I kind of like that. I mean, if you're struggling, stay in there. I mean, you got to get out of this inning.
I think it's also because they wanted to implement it this year anyway, so there's no way that they're going on without it.
Mm-hmm. The thing I want to discuss is if there's no MLB season, what's the draft going to look like? Is it going to be a lottery?
I hope it stays the same.
It's going to stay the same, you think?
I hope so.
I mean, I hope so too. Tigers get number 1 pick again.
Kumar Rocker.
Yeah.
I mean, I want there to be a season, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna cry if there's not. They keep the draft the same.
I feel like they could possibly look into doing the lottery type deal, but that would just be insane. I feel as though.
I mean,
because
as I was just seeing before we started, and I said they're still projected a top 3 pick either way. So
probably.
Who knows?
If the season goes on, we play 60 games.
Unless they come out and bring up the young guys and make some noise this year, make a push. But
I guess that's another factor going. How many games do you think we win if we go 60?
I think with the current roster.
Yeah, we'll go current roster, and then hypothetical if we bring up like Torkelson, like all of our top prospects, let's say. So current roster.
I say get 24 games.
24 games, so 24.
No, I would say almost 30. High 20s, almost 30.
So you're saying we go almost
500, yeah. Which kind of sounds current crazy, roster? But in 60 games, how do you not go 500?
You think current roster 500?
Okay, no. Current roster, you get 20. If you bring up some of the pitchers and such, you get 30. I'm telling you, you're pressing for 30.
I say
I don't know, like I don't know.
Go ahead. Sorry. I was gonna say current roster. I think between 15 and 20. It's just unless they really make some noise. I think if you bring up just the young pitchers, we push over 20. And then I think if you bring up if you just decide to say fuck it and bring up the whole farm system, you're pushing 30. Maybe.
Which I think that they would have to wait to do that because they're talking about like a whole, would it count for service time and stuff?
That'd be really weird.
Everybody's main thing that they're concerned about, but I think if you bring them all up, with expanded playoffs, you could sneak in for a roster for a wild card spot, or at least be battling to play spoiler for some teams. I'm not saying make the playoffs.
But I feel like if a lot of teams end up doing that, like bringing up their farm system, like the Orioles.
Which I guess no, I'll retract that statement because we haven't seen the official three divisions. It's looking like it's going to be the same division, so I guess you would have to say third place in the Central. They wouldn't really be battling.
Yeah, because
not third, fourth, battling third with the Indians.
Now, what if we do the 3 divisions? Do you still think third or fourth, or do you think we drop more like fifth or sixth?
Yeah, you drop lower. You're still battling though, because everybody's going to be tight.
Yeah, you're right.
If they did
especially with the 60-game schedule.
I know Central is probably the best, like the most competition and closest division in the league. So
yeah.
If you combine with them, it's tough.
Yeah. So on Monday, we had to go on the podcast without you. You had some scheduling issues and you couldn't be there for it. But we did the top 20 MLB players according to CBS. And personally, we as like the 5 of us that were there, we went through about 4 to 7 different top lists, and CBS was honestly the best one we could get to that didn't have like a lot of sus players in at least the top 10. So we went with that. I know there was a lot of statements that we made that when Mort watched it back that he didn't like. So I think I'm going to only allow you to do your top 10.
I'll get through them fast. I can do 20. I promise.
Okay. So go. I'll give you a couple minutes. Just go right through, maybe say 1 or 2 things about him and then move on.
I was just going to first off say you said something about 2011 with Mike Trout. I don't know. I think that was his rookie year. He did not finish in the top 4. But Justin Verlander won that. And
no, that his first year there, I did say that. Or I said something about every year, but that didn't count as a full year for him. So because he wasn't in the league for. Let me pull that up because I know exactly what you're talking about. It was 2011. He only played 40 games with the Angels, so it didn't count as a full year for him.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't even have a vote.
Yeah, no, because 2012 was his first full year, and that's when he won Rookie of the Year and came second in MVP voting.
Which you're not going to beat the Triple Crown winner. I don't care.
Right. But go ahead and
so my top 20. My top 20, I got some honorable mentions. Justin Verlander.
Okay.
AL Cy Young winner the last year. I don't know how he's not in the top 20. I would put him in my top 20. So I have a 3-way tie at 20. I have JV, I have Suarez, and I have Matt Chapman.
Okay.
19, I have no idea why the disrespect's still happening. They had him like the 30s. Bryce Harper. I'm putting him in there. I don't care. He's better than half the guys that were on that list.
I think we discussed it before and after that. We thought Bryce Harper should have been up there. We just never mentioned it. But he was very low on that list.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm putting him in the list over some of those guys they had for no reason. Just barely edging him is Juan Soto. I don't care how old he is. He is not that great. Well, as of right now, I think he's got
how we mentioned it in the video?
I had Joe Buck flashbacks. Yes, I think he's got the potential to be very good.
Yep.
Not right now. I don't think he is one of the top. 17, Javi Baez. I think he is overrated. I'm sorry. The guy made one tag in the World Baseball Classic, and now he's the best player in the league.
No, I think we completely agree with you on that fact that Javi Baez did not deserve to be top 20, I believe.
Yes, he's probably like a top 5 shortstop, sure. But I don't think he's that good.
Okay.
Yeah, he can hit with power when he gets it. But 16, I think this is around where they had him. I think I put him a little bit higher. I do not agree with what Brady said about him at all. I have Xander Bogaerts. Yes, he is underrated, but he is not a top shortstop.
The only thing
he might be around top 5. I'll give him that.
He's definitely he's top 2. Who's better than him?
A guy that I have way higher in this list.
Okay. No, but still, I mean, he's
quietly underrated. Yes.
You look very quietly because when you look at the stats, he had a way better season than Mookie Betts. Way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, I mean he's been doing it.
Like
he's been quietly doing it. The volume in this
bus is astronomical with how better of a season he had than Mookie, and Mookie was regarded as the best player.
He's quietly been really solid. I think he started off slow in his career with the Red Sox. I think his defense has picked up. So I mean, I'm putting him in the middle, kind of.
You said 16.
Yeah, just barely edging him out. I'm not gonna slobber like the list was doing. I put Gleyber Torres at 15.
Yeah, I don't think we really liked him there anyway. I mean, he had a good season, but we didn't really like him top 20.
Same thing with Juan Soto. I think he's just talked about way too much. Yes, the potential. Yes, I think Gleyber Torres will be a top second baseman in a few years, if not like maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
But I would not put him that high after 2 years, maybe 2.5.
Yeah, about I think it was about 1.5.
14, I have Acuna. Yes, again. He's actually one of my favorites out of the young guys, but I'm not putting him at the top yet.
Okay.
13, I thought he was so underrated throughout his career. Like the past few years, I was actually quietly a fan of him because I thought he was solid. But now that he won the World Series, everybody's slobbering. The man's like 30-something years old. Anthony Rendon, okay? He's like a top 5 third baseman, sure, but he has been his whole career. Nobody has just talked about him because he played with Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer.
See, the thing I know we were going off of is because how this.
Yeah, you guys were going off of last year.
Yeah, that we were going off strictly last year because that's how this.
Yeah, last year he did have a really good season. He was an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
I get it.
And that's why
he's always been solid.
That's why I think we had him like 6 or 5. I think.
Yeah, I've always thought he was one of the better third basemen, yes. But now that he's won a ring, he's got some recognition, everybody's acting like he just stormed onto the scene. The man's been good his whole career, so I would say he was, yes.
Wait, breaking news.
Okay.
Jeff Passan, Major League Baseball Players Association has agreed to report to training camps by July 1st and play 60-game season. But deal is not finalized yet. Once the last health and safety hurdle to get over Major League Baseball will be back a week from tomorrow.
And that's probably because the Phillies guys keep getting sick every day, and so do the Blue Jays.
So I think we can officially say that baseball will be back July 1st for spring training. I don't know what they're going to do.
I hope those games are televised because it'll make up for 60 games.
Or no, it's training camp, not spring training camp.
Yeah, I know, but
hopefully we get to see a little clip from it or something. But baseball's
action.
Back.
Yes.
Sorry, you can continue.
Tort hitting some bombs on there. So after Rendon at 12, I have Steven Strasburg. Always been one of the top pitchers. Never been talked about because he's been hurt. Never been talked about because he had Scherzer overshadowing on his team. Now he wins World Series MVP, and now he's great. Yes, he always has been. I'm putting him at 12.
A thing we said was that we had Scherzer – or wait, you said Scherzer or
Strasburg.
Strasburg. We had Strasburg over Scherzer because Strasburg quietly had the better season and obviously dominated in the playoffs and World Series.
I mean, you can make a case. I have 3 pitchers right here, all by each other. So,
and we said that, and I quoted and I said that Strasburg has been like the ace for the team, but when Scherzer came, he became the face of the team.
Yeah, and he helped Strasburg get even better. He reached what Strasburg was hyped up to be.
Yeah. So you go ahead and you're 11th.
Just barely edging him out. I'm sorry. Yes, he is a top pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I put him in the same conversation as Scherzer, Strasburg, and JV, but I have Jacob deGrom at 11.
Okay.
I think on a good day, I'm still taking Justin Verlander over him, whether I'm a fan of him or not. I'm taking him over deGrom.
I didn't like that deGrom was so high. I understood why he was so high, but I feel like he could easily be a guy that moved down. But I respected him being as high as he would. I respected the fact.
I don't remember where he was at. I know he was top 10. He was probably like top 7 or so.
You can continue with your list. I'm gonna look it up real fast.
At 10, like I said, I had 3 straight pitchers, just barely edging deGrom out. I have Scherzer.
Okay.
I mean, like I said before, he's just playing out better no matter what. And then breaking into the top 9, I don't know why he was so high, and you guys like defended that he should be that high. Jose Altuve. He's the best second baseman in the league, no matter what.
Jose Altuve was very low. He was in the.
I mean, that's what I meant.
He was at like, and I did not think he deserved to be that high. If you look at him, he didn't have that great of a season last year, and that's what we were looking by was his season last year, and he did not have that great of a season. Yes, he's one of the best second basemen in baseball, but he was a guy that we kept in our lower teens.
Yeah, he was a guy that, again, quietly has had a nice career until 2017 when he won the MVP. Guy was getting 200 hits for like 8 years straight. He was leading the league in hits, and nobody even talked about him because the Astros weren't good.
Yeah.
So even
DeGrom
with
was
a slow
just to say it real fast. DeGrom was 5 on CBS's list, and
too high.
And let me find him again here.
Scherzer was
Jose Altuve was 18.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right, you can go ahead though.
Just barely over him. The highest pitcher should come, no doubt, Garrett Cole. I didn't want to put him that high, but I mean,
so he's at 8.
Yeah, without the Astros, I don't think he's as good. Without Justin Verlander, I don't think he's as good.
We didn't even like him that high. We just felt that as though with the strikeouts and he had a decent ERA, that you have to respect him and put him that high.
I wanted to almost switch him and Scherzer, put him at 10 and put Scherzer at 8 because Justin was able to win the Cy Young over him, and he carried that staff. At 7, the best shortstop in the league. I don't know why Brady said he's overrated and not good or something else, and that he should be low. I mean, like he should be in the mid-teens. Francisco Lindor. How are we saying anything bad about the man? He's a switch hitter, brings everything. The best fielding shortstop in the league. I don't care. Well, I mean, maybe competes with Simmons, but I don't know what we have going on here. Why we don't like Lindor? I don't know if it's because like partly a casuals not watching until the Twins got good and seeing Lindor tear them up his whole career. But I've seen Lindor tear up everybody his whole career.
I think we talked about the fact of that Lindor didn't have a great hitting season last year. He didn't have a great season last year, so I think that's why we kind of hated on him. Yes, he's a top two shortstop. I feel like you could switch him and Xander back and forth. With Xander's an up and coming guy. That's what you can say. Xander's an up and coming. Lindor's kind of there.
He's in the mid-20s, up and coming. But I'm taking Lindor.
Okay.
It's always been if I'm starting a team and I'm building around shortstop, I'm taking Lindor or Carlos Correa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Lindor though. He's a switch hitter and brings everything, and he's a good business side. He's marketable. Anyway, just barely above him, we have Nolan Arenado at 6. Okay. Best third baseman in the league. I don't know what was going on there.
No, yeah, they had him at
messed up.
Yeah, they had him at 20, and we basically moved him into our top 10. Like
I don't know what he was going on. What they had.
Yeah, we don't know. They said he was on the decline. That he was gonna starting to do bad.
I think it's because they factor in like another guy on this list that'll come up, best player on a terrible team.
Okay.
And so you hadn't heard about him until like recently. I mean, I still think he's going to be an MVP candidate if he can get it going.
Oh yeah, I said he was probably going to win MVP in the next couple of years, so you can quote that, take that with your whatever you want. But so what number was he?
That was 6. Top 5, we got Christian Yelich coming in.
Okay.
Just because he's been tearing it up.
Yeah.
Been a fan before the Marlins. I mean, during the Marlins, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the top outfielders. Well, I mean, he still is.
Yeah.
He was one of the top 2 in the National League until some trades happened, which brings Cody Bellinger in at 4.
Okay.
Just barely. I mean, I was going to switch Yelich and Bellinger. You can't really.
Yeah.
I mean, on a good day, I'm probably taking Yelich over Bellinger, to be honest with you.
I feel like at times they're interchangeable, so understandable.
Number 3, MVP candidate, MVP snub. Underrated somehow. World Series ring, Alex Bregman.
Okay. We definitely, because they had Alex at 13, and we definitely moved Alex into our top 10.
Yeah, I don't know what that CBS made. Let a kid blindfolded make that list. How does he win? How does he come in second place in MVP last year and does everything you need, and you put him there? He's one of the best. I mean, I'm taking him over a lot of third basemen, probably except for Arenado. Then there's a battle, but I mean, I'm putting him there.
I think if you're that, you can put Arenado in top 5 and maybe put Bregman at 6, because yes, he's amazing MVP candidate, still young, still has time to prove. I feel like he's definitely deserves to be top 10, maybe not top 5. So that's just my personal.
I'm putting them there because of the versatility and everything. Played shortstop for them when Correa was hurt every time, and third base, and does everything. He's heart and soul. As if that wasn't controversial enough,
I can't wait to hear this.
More controversy. Number 2, like I said about Arenado, best player on a terrible team. Mike Trout's number 2. Overrated, doesn't belong there. The one above him, we all know who's above him.
I don't understand. He doesn't deserve to be there either.
Deserves
if you look at
it.
Deserves it?
Yes. Carried. Okay.
How did he care?
We all know how I feel about
carried. Bogarts carried that team then.
We all know how I feel about Mike Trout, okay? We'll just put that aside. Number 1, Mookie Betts. He was I want to say if Mike Trout wasn't a thing, Mookie Betts wouldn't be underrated. I feel like Mookie Betts is kind of underrated because of how stacked the outfield is in the league.
I think last year Mookie was very overrated. But compared to what he was doing.
He'd won an MVP. He'd been a finalist multiple years. He was the reason why the Red Sox offense was what it was. For his whole career, he had to earn it, okay? Mike Trout came onto the scene and everybody's like, oh my gosh. Mookie started off as a second baseman nobody cared about and just became an MVP candidate, Gold Glove, best player in the league. I'm taking Mookie Betts out of any outfielder, any player almost, if I'm building a team. Plays, like I said, brings the Gold Glove defense, Silver Slugger, MVP. I don't care. He's a winner. He makes a team better. He's not there for himself. He's very versatile. 5-tool. I don't care. Mookie Betts is the best player in the league.
I don't know about that.
Feel some type of way that he's on the Dodgers. Can't really fault him for that because, yeah, he probably had control of where he was going, but also at the same time, you don't know for sure. So, I'm still putting him there.
But if you look at his last season, which we were going off of, he did not have a good season whatsoever.
Sure. I mean, but the Red Sox were horrible.
That's what we were going off of.
The Red Sox weren't the Red Sox, though.
I mean, if you're talking about carrying team, Xander Bogaerts carried that Red Sox team. They weren't good last year, like you said. I think they were decent.
Bogaerts was solid. Bogaerts started taking a next step. And that next step got the Red Sox.
38 home runs or 42?
Yeah, but they all play in the East with the little baby fields.
Still, I mean, then how can you make the fact of that Mike Trout had 42 home runs then? He plays in the West.
Yeah.
He plays in
Because outside of the Astros, who's their competition? Who's the best pitching competition?
A's have pretty decent pitching, I feel.
They're okay, but anybody could hit off of them. That's why they barely struggle to make the wild card every time.
Okay, no, but you're taking that into a fact of, okay, Mookie's facing bad pitchers. Where are his stats? He didn't play good last year.
Facing bad pitchers, dog. He was going against the Yankees more than often than not. If Mike Trout's going against the A's, of course he's going to eat.
Okay.
He's going against the Angels.
No, Mike Trout. Okay, no, you just made that fact. Mike Trout's going against the Astros, good pitching staff.
Yeah.
Mookie's going against the Yankees, good pitching staff. Mike Trout had the way better season.
But I'm willing to bet
you're falling over your words there.
No, I'm willing to bet that the Angels played less games against the Astros than they did against anybody else in their division. The Red Sox played more games against the Yankees than anybody in the division, just because of rivalries.
Yeah.
And they got the baby parks. You just have to bunt the ball, and it's 500 feet out.
Oh, hold on. Another detail. Opening day set for July 24th.
Good.
So, okay. I think we need to move on for this fact because we could go another probably 10, 20 minutes.
Saying, I don't know why we aren't talking about Mookie Betts being there, especially.
I mean, he's a top 2 player without a doubt, but he's not number 1. Okay. So, moving on to our last topic of the video, something we addressed, I believe, 2 weeks ago now, because they had a week off in between week 2 and week 3. The Hohlbein Wiffle Ball League. We got Mort out this weekend. We got we talked to Blake Hohlbein and I talked to Hudson Hohlbein. Those are kind of like the main guys that run it. Very nice guys, first of all. I believe they watched last podcast. They said they really enjoyed it. I mean, we listened to their podcast on Spotify. I believe it's the Hohlbein Wiffle Ball League. I think that's what it's called, or so. HBWL, something like that on Spotify. So go check that out. First and foremost there. Gotta respect their podcast. But, I mean, overall this weekend I feel like it was fun. The first game was a little...
What you'd expect.
Yeah, the first game...
Everybody knew it going into it.
Yeah, they have like 3 college baseball players on the team that our friends face. So it was kind of iffy. Definitely a lot of home runs were hit. I want to say like close to 10 home runs, or maybe over.
For sure.
Maybe like 15 total home runs between both teams that game. So that was pretty insane. I mean, that was a pretty fast outcome. We knew where that was going. And then
you put up 20 runs in like 5 innings, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it was, I think total there was 26 runs combined, something like that, because they won on a 20-6 mercy. So, oh shit!
Dang! Smack the crap out of it.
Are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But then their second game, they've faced Wifflers in training, and
they were definitely in training.
Yeah, definitely. They were making, because I was running gun for most of the game, because I think we addressed this in the first video, or the first time we talked about that. If you pitch over 60 mile per hour, it's an automatic walk. So you always have to have a guy running gun, and I was over there running gun for them, man. They were dogging on their field. Like the guys on the bench, they were just dogging on the field.
They had said how they just gave the league money just to show up because they know they're going to get crushed by everybody. It was just a tough scene.
See, the thing is, they have a couple wins, which
been there, done that. Really,
they have a couple wins, which is pretty insane. But yeah, I think the Packers won on a 10-0.
Oh yeah.
No, it was 11-1. It was 11-1 mercy in third inning, because you have to beat them by 10 before 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. How did you feel out there for your first time?
It was great. Got a lot of steps in by poorly operating the scoreboard. Other than that, saw some shenanigans. It's mostly just really what I expected. Definitely entertaining though.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to go to almost every game. I knew I know the Packers. I'll adjust this here because I don't think they're kind of having a little trouble with their roster, maybe. And I know Brendan had talked about maybe possibly having to talk to Blake about it because I know Royce is with work and going into the Marines and everything. He's having a hard time with getting there every game. So they were going to try to see because another team had to do it. Waive 2 guys and then have a spot open. So Brendan was thinking that if it comes to that, he's going to have to see, and then maybe
you'll become a player coach.
Yeah, maybe we might see me play out the last 2 weeks of the season. Now they have a big gap in between this week and the next week. The next week starts July 10th. I think just scheduling with them and everything, probably use of the field. So I think in between that time, I want to see if we can maybe get Blake or Hudson, one of them, on. I mean, we can go to them, they can come to us, but we can kind of sit down, talk about the league. I want to hear about one, the stat taking, first of all, because I find that interesting how they keep basically every stat. And then I want to hear about how the season will finish out with 2 more weeks left, and then I want to see how the final weekend tournament goes, how that fully works, because it's a Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday championship, I believe, something along those lines. So I feel like that would be pretty interesting to talk down there. I mean, they're really good guys, anyways.
They recognized us and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I know who they were, but obviously them recognizing us was pretty cool. That means they obviously watched the podcast and everything. So, other than that, I don't think there's much more that we have to talk about. We got that kind of exciting that we got that MLB news while we're recording this. I think that's what we wanted.
Yeah, mostly that's what we were aiming for. That's why this is long.
Yeah, but I think that's all we got for this episode. You got anything else to say?
No, I'm just happy I got that out. Really.
I will definitely maybe next week. I think on one of the Buds podcasts, I think we're gonna have to have a certain baseball discussion.
Probably
that will add on.
I don't know though. I'll just get quadruple teams, so I don't know if I'm all about that.
So we'll have to see, but maybe. I think next week we'll be back in the studio though, so look out for that. And I think that's all we got for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe. We were at 50 at Monday's 2 months, but then for some reason I think we dropped back down.
Oh, so, I'd only seen 49 the whole time.
Oh, I saw 50 at one point. That's why I said it in the video, and then the next morning I saw we were back down to 49.
That's tough.
That was kind of bad to say, but yeah, and I mean we've seen the recent on A&M that basically almost the full video is being watched, which we really like to see, because that means we're obviously making good content for everybody. You guys like listening to us, which we really like. Kind of sucks we couldn't be with each other this week, so I mean, hope you guys still like the episode.
This show goes on.
Yeah, the show goes on, like we say. So like I said, subscribe if you haven't yet, and see you guys next Wednesday for A&M and Friday for the Buds podcast. And Brownie, send us off.
Yo, shout out Andrew and Mort, bro.